United stand. It's the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference for Manchester United versus Brighton. Lots and lots to discuss. Let me get my notes. But he's done it again. He's done it again. In fact, let's start off with a positive, because we should start off with a positive. It is a positive time. Red Baron's made a contribution. He says, did you see the news that Mata went to see the 12-year-old's training session when his dad died? Can we at least keep Mata as a coach or even a prophet? Yeah, I saw that. Andy Mitten's dad died. He was a journalist for Manchester United. He's got a 12-year-old brother. Juan Mata turned up at his training session and spent 50 minutes with him, gave him a shirt and everything, which is just, look, Juan Mata is a sensational human being. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And part of me thinks just give him a lifetime contract. However, is that ruthless? I suppose at the other side of the coin, I'd give him a lifetime contract. He's absolutely fantastic. But I suppose the more ruthless people would say, well, we're Manchester United. You know, Gary Neville at half-time realised his time was up and he left because he loves the club so much. We shouldn't be a charity giving people a shirt just because they're good people. I suppose that's a valid point. But yeah, he is a fantastic man. But Fellaini's done it again. He's done it again. There's lots to talk about from Ollie, but he's come out with two real downers on a Friday. It's not his fault. He's basically said there probably won't be any ins or outs this transfer window, which is devastating news. Really is devastating, and I feel sorry for him. But in some ways I don't. I'll come on to that in a minute. But Fellaini will survive another transfer window. He's done what he normally does. He's got himself injured in the transfer window. How many bloody times has he done this now? He does it. This is what happens when you give him a contract. He takes the absolute piss. Got himself injured. He's got a calf injury. He's not back till the middle of February now. So we're not loaning him out. We're not selling him. And he'll be back on the bench with the X Factor. Ollie said the X Factor. The X Factor, more like Britain's Got No Talent, where we all do the three X's. I think he's getting mixed up. But in a serious note, I am annoyed. I am frustrated because it's not about Fellaini. It's not about individualism, really. It's about what he symbolises, and there is a positive change at Manchester United in the brand of football we're playing. It's fast, it's intense, it's exciting. He can't do any of that. So if he's there in February and we've got big games against PSGs on the bench, he comes on, we become slow and pragmatic and boring and hoofball again. I wanted him gone for that very simple reason, but yet again he's gone and got himself injured again. He gets himself injured every transfer window, so we can't sell him. And then Valencia apparently saying yesterday that even if he's not given a new contract, he's still going to stay at the club. Why do these people disrespect the club so much? I mean, they pretend that they love the club so much. But as I said, Gary Neville, people like legends of this club, when they realise their time is up and they can't do justice to the shirt, they remove themselves because they love the club. And then you've got rumours of people saying, oh, I love this club, I want to stay no matter what. That's bollocks. You're either good enough or you're not. We're not a charity at Manchester United. We will be for Juan Mata because that's very, very different. But people saying, oh, I just want to stay here no matter what and retire here. Well, tough. We're not. With that. This isn't Manchester United retirement home. Get out the door if you're not good enough. Valencia needs to go. Darmian needs to go. Fellaini needs to go. This is why we're not bloody signing players, because we're just retaining all this deadwood. The deadwood will not be removed. But I feel sorry for Ollie, because Ollie obviously sits there with a smile on his face, very, very positive, because he is a man who came in a month ago, has got 6 wins in a row, revolutionised the name Manchester United. Yet again, he was asked about, how do you feel about going into games and the positivity? And he said, look, I go into every game expecting Manchester United to win. That's what Manchester United should do. He knows. He's not telling us a line to make us happy. He's been at this club. He's scored winning goals for this club. He knows what this club's about. He gets that. But as I said last night, Ollie's in a really difficult position because he has not got the security blanket of a 2 or 3 year contract. He's got the security blanket, which is paper thin, of a 3 or 4 month contract. And if he upsets the board, they'll just get rid of him. They'll go and get Poch or Zidane. He cannot go into the board this month and go, these are the players, these should be gone, and these are the players I need if you want top 4. Because they'll just go, yeah, we're Manchester United Bank. We're not Manchester United Football Club. You're off. You don't move out of the hotel because you're back to Norway in May. So Ollie's hands are tied behind his back. And to be fair, I said this about Mourinho. I said it about Van Gaal and Moyes to a certain extent. Yeah, they had money, but they didn't get the money that Man City got, which Manchester United should be spending because we're loaded. So I think every manager has their hands tied behind their back, at least one. I think Ollie's got both hands tied behind his back. It's like, come in, you've done an absolute bloody miracle, mate. It's like it's getting somebody to rebuild the Colosseum. He's, in a month, he's rebuilding it. And he's like, can I have a little bit more money? Because I really want to really get it like it was in the Gladiator film. No. Carry on doing the miracles that you're doing with your bare hands. We're not giving you any money, even though we're sat on a big pile of gold. And that's what Manchester United are like with Ollie. How are we not spending money in January? Why are we not spending money in January? This is the important point at Manchester United, that we cannot get lost behind good results. How long can Ole Gunnar Solskjaer perform miracles with that squad? It only takes an injury to Pogba, an out of form Rashford, and we're in trouble. We're in trouble. We are reliant on 2 or 3 players. And if when they get injured, that squad depth is Deadwood FC. He needed resources in January. Mourinho was going to get resources in January, but because Ollie's a stopgap manager, he's not getting anything. And I don't think I think top 4 is genuinely a concern. It's not impossible, because if we can keep this momentum up, we can get a bit of luck with injuries, we can do it. But for them not to back him is a disgrace. And what are they hiding behind? We're waiting for the summer to see what the situation is. We're a bloody football club. It's not the end of year tax year. It's a football club. There is a transfer window. We need at least one centre-back, maybe other positions. Back this bloody manager. Back him now, because if you give him the job in May and we don't get top 4, you're bloody idiots. He needs backing now. But Ollie's powerless, because if he opens his gob up, they'll remove him, because he hasn't got the security of a 15 million payout like Mourinho. So yeah, look, Fellaini survives again, and Ollie's words were, not sure we'll see any movement this transfer, and he was asked if anyone's coming in. Not really. I don't think so. So not really any in, which is, it's very disappointing, because I think that, we're obviously living in a very, very positive time, but he needed resources, and the club, yet again, the question mark isn't on the playing staff at the moment, and it's not on the manager at the moment. It's quite rightly, it's on the board, and again, they're just sitting on a pot of gold. It's a disgrace. Van Dijk, 75 million last season, last January, revolutionised Liverpool. Why are we not doing that? This month, Chelsea going out and buying a striker in their weak position. They're above us. What are we doing? Hoping and praying that Phil Jones and Chris Smalling can guide us to top 4. It's a risk. Andre says, hi Mark, love the channel. By the way, do you think Tahith Chong needs to bulk up just a little? He's fast but gets knocked off too easily. Yeah, I agree, Andre. He's not ready yet. He's not ready, Tahith Chong, but he needs a little bit of game time here and there, but he's not ready yet. He does need to bulk up a bit. 100% agree with that. He was asked about Mourinho. Obviously, I've put it in I think it says it on the thumbnail. Mourinho is in the past, and I think Ollie's message was quite clear about that. Mourinho obviously speaking to the press yesterday, or as part of his punditry, saying that he's not retired yet. Ollie was asked about that. He said, well, he's a fantastic manager. His history speaks for himself. I wouldn't expect him to retire, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of jobs looking at him. He was also asked about Mourinho's comments about player power, and Ollie was like, I'm not going to comment on that. I can only comment on my situation, which is basically him saying Mourinho's in the past. I don't need to comment on Mourinho, which is absolutely spot on. He doesn't need to do that. He was asked about Paul Pogba's comments yesterday, not specifically about the training ground or anything like that. Paul Pogba did say yesterday that the problem against Brighton could be overconfidence. Ollie not afraid to jump in on that and disagree and say, I don't believe overconfidence is ever an issue. I want the players to be confident. I want them to take people on. I want them to pass forward. I want them to shoot. Overconfidence is not a problem. That is not the issue. It's complacency. And Ollie, again, absolutely pinning it down. Because Paul Pogba's a footballer. He's not a mastermind coach. So Paul Pogba, quite rightly, probably thinks overconfidence is an issue. But he's not a manager. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the manager, and he's jumped in there and said, he's not having a go at Pogba, he's just saying, no, overconfidence is not a problem. I love overconfidence. It's complacency. And we've seen it so many times, especially under Mourinho. You beat Man City at the Etihad from being 2-0 down at half-time. You win 3-2. Pogba plays a worldie. The next week, we play West Brom at home, and every United player is shit, and we lose 1-0 to a relegated team. And that's the problem. It's that complacency, which I'm looking forward to the Brighton game for that reason. We get a great result against Spurs. Last season, I think we probably draw against Brighton. Can we go and get a result? B. Kroll says top 4 is going to be very difficult now. We should have taken advantage of Tottenham and Arsenal weaknesses to make a couple of statement signings. I'm absolutely stunned if we don't sign anybody in this transfer window. I still am hoping that we are going to do it, because we heard the same thing and then we got Sanchez last year. But if we don't buy anybody in this January transfer window and we don't get top 4, there's only one place to look for the blame, and it is the board of this club. They are sitting on a pot of gold, and why are they doing it? It's bollocks. We're football fans. We're not bloody bank customers. You don't dictate the interest rates and say just pay it. We're football fans. We've all got bloody opinions. You can't hide behind the fact we're waiting until the summer who the next manager is. Bollocks. Bollocks. It's the transfer window. It's open for 31 days and Manchester United need a centre-back. Don't tell me that you're waiting for the summer. I've said this so many times. Manchester United need to ship out 5 players and bring in 5 players. You cannot do 10 deals in one summer transfer window. The January transfer window is an opportunity that if we don't get rid of a few players and bring a player in, we've wasted it. And that's what United do. Every August, we go into a new season not getting all the business we need to do. So we go into the season half-loaded. That even happened with Mourinho. He did want another 2 players. He didn't get them. The season before, we didn't get Perisic. The season before that, I can't remember who, Van Gaal didn't get players. You know, we don't get everybody we want because we leave ourselves with too much to do in the summer, and Woodward is traditionally quite slow at deals. So if we don't use this January transfer window, I'll tell you now, the most players we're going to get rid of is 3 and the most we're going to get in is 3. Well, we need to get rid of 5 or 6 and we need to get 5 or 6 in. So next season, we ain't going to win the league because we're not ready. That's why this January transfer window should be used. And instead, it's, let's not spend anything. That's another 4 months of interest on our big pot of gold. And that's how we're being run. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable not to use a transfer window when we need to use the transfer window. If I looked at that squad and went, realistically, we can afford to wait till the summer, I'd be the first to say, let's wait till the summer. But I ain't going to sit back and go, we don't need to spend any money, we're fine. We've got centre-backs that are massively, massively inconsistent and reckless. And centre-back and we've got massive games coming up in February and next week. We cannot gamble on something that's right there. A month ago, Champions League was a dream. Today, we can almost touch it. In 4 months, if it's a dream again, it's going to be because of this transfer window. And that's nothing to do with Solskjaer and his coaching staff. It's to do with the board again going, we're not going to spend any money. Bollocks. Absolute waste of time. Chung Lee says, would you keep Ollie if he missed out on top 4? I feel sorry for him. He's doing very well without the backing. The interesting thing about that, Chung Lee, is I don't know what you lot think, I don't think the board will keep Ollie if he doesn't get top 4. And part of me thinks, is there some sinister plan here not to keep Ollie? Because if he gets top 4, they've got to keep him. And if they spend money, he'll probably get top 4. If they don't spend money and they want somebody else, they win on 2 ways. 1, they don't spend money, so they keep their money. And 2, Ollie doesn't get the job, so they get whoever they really want in. That's what concerns me. We've heard things about Woodward, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but I've heard this stuff from pretty credible people saying that Woodward's got a bigger ego than any manager we've got. He's far more arrogant than Van Gaal. Got a bigger ego than Mourinho, and what he thinks goes at Manchester United. And if he's made his mind up, like he's meant to have this obsession with Pochettino, that he wants Pochettino as boss, it's not unrealistic if he is that person for him to be sat here going, I'm not spending any money, I'm keeping it all back for Pochettino in the summer because I've got to pay 50 million to get him, and Ollie's not getting the job. If that's the scenario, then he's not going to spend any money in January, is he? Because he's like, I've got to keep all the money I can for Pochettino in the summer, so I'm not spending anything now. That terrifies me because I don't think, if Ollie doesn't get top 4, I don't think he'll get the job. But if he gets top 4, I think he deserves it. But if he doesn't get top 4 and we've not spent money, I feel very sorry for him, yeah. Because how can you have this scenario where he's done what he's done? Like, it's a miracle what he's done in 6 games, right? He does that. If he was Chelsea manager, they'd give him 100 million. If he was Man City manager, they'd give him 200 million. If he was Spurs or Arsenal, they ain't going to give him nothing. Liverpool manager, they'd probably give him a bit of money as well because they did Van Dijk. He would be rewarded for the amazing turnaround he's done. Where's his reward? Where's his backing that job's there for you to go and grab, mate? There's 100 million. Nothing. It's like, carry on doing what you're doing. Yeah. Not good enough. Not good enough. Ersin, thanks for the contribution, Ersin Tavinda. Let's go. Right, let's have a look at some other stuff that he spoke about. So, talking about injuries for the game against Brighton, Smalling and Marcus Rojo are back running, but they won't be back playing tomorrow. Sanchez started training on Wednesday, so he should be back if he comes through the training this morning. Fellaini is out. Fellaini is out until the middle of February with a calf injury, so we won't be selling him because he's got himself injured in a transfer window again. Well done, Marwan. You do it every bloody transfer window. What a prat. Every game at United you expect to win, Ollie. Fellaini's out for 3 to 4 weeks with a calf injury. He's got that X factor and we can bring him back for the big games. I don't know what X factor this is, Ollie, that Ollie's on about. He's a hoofball merchant, so I hope Ollie's not thinking of doing that. He was asked about Alexis Sanchez and he said, I'm looking forward to having him back. It's down to the player to get himself involved, but I'm looking forward to having him back, which is very, very good. He asked how settled he is in Manchester. Still in a hotel, but he's got somewhere to move into very quickly. He's only here for 6 months and he's getting himself out the Lowry. He says, I love it here. I look forward to waking up in the morning and that's just the way I am. He said that, look, one thing I've underlined actually that I really wanted to bring in is he said it's about getting the crowd up. It's about, I want confidence. I want to get the crowd up. And how many times have we spoken on this show about whether it's the watch-alongs or the previews or anything like that, how Mourinho and Van Gaal especially, they never cooked the crowd. Like they moaned about the crowd not being vocal enough, but they never understood how to get the Old Trafford crowd going. And I think many football grounds, especially the traditional ones like Anfield and Old Trafford, they're steeped in history, and there's a groove. There's a groove of how you get. It's like playing an old guitar. You know how to tune it and get it going. Ollie knows how to get the Old Trafford crowd going. We know how to get the Old Trafford crowd going, but Mourinho and Van Gaal never did. And the way you get the crowd going, which is why I loved Ollie said it's about getting the crowd up and making them impact, because when the Old Trafford crowd's rocking, it's intimidating, and it is another man on the pitch. How do you get the Old Trafford crowd rocking? Well, you're all in the live comments telling me now, but we know how we get it going. It's in the first 5 minutes. It's the width. It's about getting people in the box. It's about putting crosses into the box. It's about moving the ball quickly. You get that Old Trafford crowd excited in the first 5 to 10 minutes, and they'll stay cooking for the rest of the game. And Ollie knows that, and I love that. I love the fact that he brings that up as a really important thing, because it's something that we've really, really neglected. Sharath Kamath Fitness says, I hope we finish third. If not United, I hope he gets a good job in a good league somewhere in the Premier League. I'm 100% sure United will renew Mata's contract. Yeah, I think we will renew Mata's contract, to be honest. If Mata wants to go, I wouldn't begrudge him. I wouldn't begrudge him that, but I do think we will renew it. Let's have a sip of coffee because it is early this morning. I just want to say as well, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, That's Football is my other channel. I'll be live on there at 1 o'clock today, or 1:30 today, doing a bit of FIFA. That's where I do my FIFA stuff. Sharath has just reminded me, because he sent me an email yesterday about my Ultimate Team thing. 10-point list of changes I should make, things I should do. I've done it all, Sharath, so it's going to be a good show at 1:30. So I'll see you on there for that. And also, Mark Goldbridge's channel, I do my podcast on a Friday, which is talking about not necessarily football stuff. So we'll be talking about the controversial Gillette ad, homophobia in football. It's only its second one, but you can get on the Mark Goldbridge channel for that. It's live at midday. But he was also asked about McTominay. He says, I believe in McTominay, and I'm not sure we'll see any movement this month, which is where he then went on to say, I don't think we'll see any transfers coming in either. So he believes in McTominay, and McTominay will probably be staying as well. So from a position of, I think we were pretty sure McTominay and Fellaini would be going this month. It looks, Fellaini's definitely staying because he's injured in a transfer window again, and it sounds like McTominay will stay as well. So the reality is, you can't moan at Ollie for keeping Fellaini and McTominay when he's not getting any players coming in the door. If you were manager of Manchester United for 4 months, would you get rid of players when they're not going to bring any players in? At the end of the day, it's like playing Football Manager or FIFA or whatever, isn't it? You've got a squad of players. Are you going to get rid of 2 players? How do you benefit from that unless you're getting the money from those players to spend? Why would you? Because what if you have a massive injury crisis? What if Pogba, Matic, Herrera all get injured or suspended? You're going to have to use Fellaini or McTominay. As bad as they are, you're going to have to use them. So it makes no sense for Ollie to get rid of anybody if he's got nobody coming in. And I feel really sorry for him. I think that's a sad thing in a time of massive positivity. And the reality is we've got Brighton and we've got Burnley in the league, and we should win both of those. And that's another 2 wins in the league, and that's really important. But a football season is over 9 months, and it's not about 1.5 months in January where we've had a good run of fixtures. I worry about the games we've got in February against PSG. I worry about Arsenal next week. I worry about Man City. I worry about Liverpool, because our defence is not good enough. And whatever anybody wants to say about positivity, it was a fantastic result against Spurs last week. But how many chances did we give away? If any of those chances had been finished properly, it doesn't matter how good De Gea is. He made really good saves, but De Gea will tell you, if a player hits it properly, it's unsavable by any goalkeeper. And Spurs did not take those chances. Other teams will not miss that many, no matter how good De Gea is. And who was responsible for all those chances? Because people were giving people like Lindelof and Jones and Shaw and Young and Matic, they're giving them 8 out of 10. How can they be 8 out of 10 then? Who was responsible for those chances that were given away? You've got to say, collectively, it's a defence, isn't it? So Look, I just think that we need. I don't blame Ollie. I don't blame the players. It really does come down to me. Yet again, we're sat in a situation going, why is our board not backing our club? Why is our board sat on a pot of gold, wasting a transfer window? And the thing I would say as well is, the most important thing in my mind is, we need to move 5 players out and we need to move 5 players in. We can't do 10 deals in one transfer window in the summer. This transfer window, like a couple of years ago, in January, we got rid of Memphis and Schneidlin. And that was a good bit of business that we then didn't have to do in the summer. Because Woodward's involved in all these deals. So we already know now, if we don't do any business in January, we're not getting all the business we need to do in the summer. We'll still go into a new season next year. We'll still have maybe Jones, Fellaini, we'll still have some deadwood because we won't have time to get rid of it all, and we won't bring every player we need to come in. I mean, people are talking about a centre-back, a CDM, a right midfielder, a backup striker, maybe another full-back. Dream on. We ain't signing 5 players in the summer. Forget it. Not going to happen. You're going to have to prioritise 3 because that's all. Woodward will do 3 deals, that's it. So you might get a centre-back, you might get a right midfielder, and you might get a backup striker or a CDM, but you ain't going to get 5. Not going to happen because we've wasted another transfer window, and it really does annoy me. It really does annoy me that we've done that, and it's nothing to do with Ollie. He's absolutely fantastic, and he's powerless because he can't open his mouth. Because what if the horrible scenario that Woodward is keeping money back because he knows who he wants as manager and it's not Ollie? Disgrace if that's true, but we don't know. We don't know. Anyway. Live again tonight at 8 o'clock. I'm going to have a few drinks today. It's Friday, and we'll have Friday Night Live interactive with you lot. Podcast on my channel live, 1 o'clock at midday, Mark Goldbridge's channel, and then FIFA on That's Football at 1:30. So busy day, started off early. Smash a like on the video, everybody who's watching. I know it's not a great time but for everybody, but please do. Let's have a look. Minnie says that Woodward's a specialist in failure. Well, Woodward can be a bloody legend, and he has been a legend in the past, but I disagree with the board's stance of not spending money in January. You make yourself look idiots. We're playing catch-up, and the teams above us are spending money. Disgraceful to not do anything. And the thing is, as I said, if this team didn't glaringly need something, and you're just going to put a cherry on the top, fine. But we're a cake that's missing 2 layers. We haven't got a centre-back. We need a centre-back. We need a centre-back. It's not about keeping the money back till the summer. We need a bloody centre-back. A top-class centre-back. We are on very thin ice with the centre-backs that we've got. And if we fall through and miss out on top 4, it will be because the club didn't spend money now. Pratt Wadkey says, remove the deadwood and bring in good players in the necessary positions to strengthen the team for results. It can't get easier than this. Dumb board. They don't want to spend money. They want to sit on a piece of gold, a pile of gold, and earn interest. And until they spend money, I will keep saying that, because what else are we supposed to say? You can only deal with what's in front of you, and we need to spend money. Look, Spurs need to spend money, but they won't, because Daniel Levy's got a brand new stadium and he's always been a bit tight. Arsenal won't spend money because they've got owners who are really tight as well. United, what's our excuse? Well, it's owners who don't want to spend money again, isn't it? Richest club in the world, spending nothing in a transfer window. That's a joke, isn't it? Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all later. The positive thing is, at the moment, everything's positive on the pitch. The negative thing is, Fellaini's got himself injured in a transfer window and survived again, and doesn't look like we're going to spend any money. And that doesn't really matter in the short term, but when we hit February, March, and the tough games come, and the centre-backs maybe cost us points, we'll look back to now and say, yeah, we were right to be moaning. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon.